Hello and welcome to this next video, number 18 in my World War II series and number 6 in my Golden Oldie series. Don't forget to check out my other series, Bush Mountain Water Strips in Microsoft Flight Simulator. This time we look at EGKA Brighton City Shoreham Airport in the southeast of the UK. Here we see the location of Shoreham Airport, just to the left of Brighton, at the bottom of the UK. This picture shows Shoreham Airport in the yellow circle, along with the incredible number of other World War II RAF airfields in the south of the UK, shown in red. Some of these have been developed into major airports like Heathrow and Gatwick, or medium-sized airfields like Biggin Hill. Some have been retained as very small airfields, but the majority have gone back to farmland, especially if they were only grass airfields, gone to industrial and housing development, shopping centres and even prisons. But a significant number have just been abandoned and not reused for anything else to date, and these are very interesting to study. We will fly over two of these former RAF airfields near Shoreham in the sim later on. This is a Google Earth view of the current Shoreham Airport with its single paved runway and two grass strips. It is the oldest continuously licensed airport in the UK and the oldest purpose-built commercial airport in the world still operating. In this close-up view we can see the heritage-listed 1930s Art Deco terminal just above the round green grassed area, still in use today. A real rare treasure, a beautiful remnant of a bygone era. Just to the left of that are two large heritage-listed aircraft hangars, obviously with new roofs, also still in use today. Shoreham Airport was established in 1910. Here we see the first flight at the airfield by Harold Piffard in 1910, with some interesting facts at the bottom of the picture. And let's not forget the women. Here is Edith Mies at Shoreham in 1911 in her Valkyrie monoplane. Must have been quite brave to fly in that thing. Shoreham was a base for Elliott Rowe, the founder of the famous Avro company, seen here in 1914. It was also a base for John Alcock of Alcock and Brown fame, the first pilots to fly across the Atlantic in 1919. During World War I, Shoreham Airfield was used by the Royal Flying Corps for Blériots and Royal Aircraft Factory BE aircraft to depart for France. I think these are BEs in the rather unclear picture taken at Shoreham during World War I. In 1936 the Art Deco terminal was built and the airport was called Brighton, Hove and Worthing Joint Municipal Airport. Like most airports at the time, it was a popular place. And again this time with some Gypsy Moth aircraft. And here it is again, this time with the heritage listed hangars on the right hand side of the picture. For a year or two before World War II, RAF pilots were trained at Shoreham on de Havilland Tiger Moths and Hawker Harts and Hawker Hinds aircraft. Here's a Hawker Hart coming into land at Shoreham. During World War II, Shoreham was an important airfield, especially during the Battle of Britain and the Normandy landings, and was used at different times during the war for coastal patrols, fighter interception, night fighters, practice target towing, search and rescue, practice anti-aircraft gunnery and escort duties. Aircraft based at the airfield include Westland Lysanders, Bristol Beaufighters, Hawker Hurricanes, Supermarine Walruses, Bolton Paul Defiance and Supermarine Spitfires. There were some unexpected visitors too, including a crashed B-17 Flying Fortress and the shot-down Messerschmitt BF-109 shown in this picture. Due to its heritage-listed period features and Art Deco terminal, Shoreham Airport continues to be used for historical scenes in movies, including The Crown, The Da Vinci Code, and as shown in this picture, episodes of Agatha Christie's Poirot. Shoreham hosted the Royal Forces Association Airshow for 25 years until a Hawker Hunter jet fighter taking part in the 2015 airshow crashed onto the nearby main road, killing 11 people, after which no more airshows have been held. Shoreham was a grass field until a tarmac runway was built in 1981. From 2014, the airport has been called Brighton City Shoreham. It is now quite a busy airport used by private aircraft, flying schools, aircraft maintenance, sightseeing flights, aviation, vocational education and training, emergency helicopters and various aviation-related businesses. There's even an airport rescue and firefighting service. There is a nice memorial garden outside the vintage Art Deco terminal, as shown here. And inside there is the Hummingbird restaurant and cafe, shown here, and a nice visitor centre and museum. Here's our flight plan for this trip. We'll take a look at Shoreham Airport buildings and overfly a couple of nearby former RAF airfields, Ford and Thorney Island, to the west, then back over Shoreham, over Brighton to the east, over a couple of World War II memorials near Dover and the White Cliffs, and then return to Shoreham. Now here we are in the sim at Shoreham Airport. I'm using payware scenery from Orbex for the airport, and what could be better than to do this flight in a beautiful Spitfire aircraft. There's the heritage listed 1930s Art Deco terminal and heritage hangars on the right of the terminal. The inside of the terminal building was and remains very beautiful, still used today as the terminal building for the airport. Taxiing now for takeoff. Always use the full length of the runway, not the shortcut. Taking off from runway 02 to the northeast. At the far end of the runway on the left hand side is the original fascinating World War II gunnery training dome. It's not modelled in the sim, so here is a picture. It still remains in situ on the northern perimeter of the airfield. The interior of the dome portrayed the night sky onto which were projected films of moving aircraft, which were fired at by trainees using dummy guns. This is one of only two left in the UK. Ingenious for those times, don't you think? There's a view of Shoreham looking to the rear. Now we take a quick look at nearby former RAF Ford, the world's most famous World War II intruder airfield, from which squadrons roamed enemy-occupied territory to attack targets at will. Ford first opened in 1918 for use by the Royal Flying Corps and American squadrons in World War I, and was then closed in 1920. It reopens for civil flying in 1930 and resumed military aviation connections from 1937. Both the Royal Navy Fleet Air Arm and the RAF used Ford during World War II. The airfield was heavily involved through the vital D-Day period and beyond. And there's Ford coming up now in the sim. After World War II, civil aircraft continued to use the airfield until all flying finally ceased in 1980. Today there is a wide variety of alternative uses, ranging from industry, housing, leisure, a prison and a popular Sunday market. A view of Ford to the rear. Next, a quick look at nearby former RAF Thorney Island. It opened in 1938, just before the beginning of World War II. It was used by RAF Fighter Command as a fighter field and by RAF Coastal Command for the protection of shipping and other roles. It was also used by the Royal Navy Fleet Air Arm for various roles, including testing of a large range of aircraft. There's Thorney Island coming up now in the sim. It closed in 1976 but was then used in 1980 to house Vietnamese refugees. It was reopened for the Royal Artillery in 1982 and became Baker Barracks. Inside the cockpit of the beautiful Spit, head outside the open canopy for a bit of fresh air. Back overflying Shoreham Airport, heading east along the beautiful coast. Approaching famous Brighton Pier with the British Airways I-360 observation tower on the beach disappearing under the aircraft. Brighton Marina ahead beyond the pier. And now over famous Beachy Head and the memorial to World War II RAF Bomber Command. Down there in that white area. The memorial is not modelled in the sim, but this picture shows its exact location on Beachy Head. And there's the popular World War II Battle of Britain Memorial off the left wingtip, and then just in front of the aircraft nose. See the large propeller on the cliff top? Again, the memorial is not modelled in the sim, so here is a picture. Approaching Dover and its port and the very famous White Cliffs. Dover Castle on the hill to the left. Beautiful chalk cliffs. Someone else, of course, had his eyes on the White Cliffs in 1940, but we won't go there. And an appropriate time for a victory roll. And then back to Shoreham. And there's Shoreham again on the right hand side of the aircraft. On final for runway 02, gear down, power back, mixture rich, prop control forward. Couple of bounces. Taxiing back to the apron in the beautiful Spit. Love that aircraft. Well, there you go. Hope you enjoyed that, and please consider liking and subscribing for weekly videos. Cheers for now.